Now can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. I had one of those senior moments where I forgot to bring in on the broadcasting software an audio for this particular part of the feed. And now that I got that sorted out, I'd like to welcome everybody. I see that we have a number of people online. We got 12 viewers right now, 12 concurrent viewers, which is interesting, and one like. Okay, that's pretty good too. This, of course, is going through our our society channel, Northern Virginia Ukulele Society YouTube channel. So anytime you like it, that's good. And of course, if you have the link, if you want to share it with your friends, please do so. You go ahead and do that. This is one of those things we're doing because of COVID-19. We're kind of practicing the new norm in social distancing. We normally meet, as you know, at our sponsor, Ono Brewing Company. They're one of our more recent sponsors and have been very good to us since December when we moved from Cafe Montmartre. And we get to do all of our activities inside of their brew house with all of the big giant vats surrounding us. So we're going to get ready to get started, except David just walked away from his chair. Okay, so there we go. So hopefully you can hear David. If you can't hear him, let me know, because then that way we can sit there and I can try to fix that. But right now you should be able to hear David in the feed.
Can you hear me as well?
Okay, that's super. I'm guessing you're hearing both David and myself, and that's great. So one of the things that we're going to do is, like we did last month, we would take turns leading you through songs. These songs mostly come out of our songbooks that we have on our website, but for the convenience, because we're doing the not normal thing, but doing all of these jams now virtually, we're going to have, I'm going to play one song, then Dave is going to play one song. And Dave and we'll introduce each other's song, but that way you can see David there. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to play our first club signature song, "Beautiful Kauai," and let me see. I got to do something here. I got to save that one. I'm sorry. I thought I had this one already up. There we go. And that way, when I'm looking at the song, I'm looking at you through my camera. So anyways, so we're getting ready. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Then David's going to join in right after me. He's going to start his first song with the song he did last month, which is a parody on the current situation we're in, COVID. So here we go. Here's the song that you should be able to see on your screen. And in case you're one of the ensemble members, we're not playing the ensemble way. We're playing the society way for this song. And of course, it's two vamps through. The first vamp being the one that's the pace setter. And then, of course, the second vamp through, you kind of join right in. So here we go. I'll read. I think there was a problem there, but I didn't see anybody say anything in the chat, and I had a screen covering David's face. So I'm going to bring back David in on this one. So how did that sound? Did that sound okay, David?
Yeah, the uke was overpowering your voice. I guess it damped, and so it was sometimes couldn't hear the lyrics.
Okay. Let me see. I know why, because I have my ukulele plugged in through my interface box, and I didn't know I couldn't see your screen, but then I knew there was something goofy going on. Then I looked at the broadcast software and I saw my input feed was way through the roof. So I said, okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully, does that sound better? Because I know what it sounds like here, but I don't know what it sounds like in the stream.
That's better.
Okay. I think what I need to do is also bring up the chat window for the both of us. Okay, there we go. So that way I also see that if you punch it into the chat. So what we're going to do next, now does out in the YouTube world, maybe if you want me to play that again, I can, because I can see loud and clear. But if you want me to play it again, I will. So I know it's a delay about 20 seconds. Actually, if I do it this way. So maybe that would work. We'll see if there was any responses to that. But David, so why don't you tell us a little bit while we're waiting for the answers there, what you've been doing on the ukuleles since the last time we were here a month ago.
Right. So I've been helping with this, with all these events and working through the new technology, and I've been practicing with the ensemble, which is a great opportunity if anybody's interested in that, and then commiserating on, being cooped up in the house for X number of months. And I actually don't mind. I have so many things that I do in the house. I'm starting to get antsy now, but it's one thing to be housebound, and it's another thing to be housebound with your family all sort of quarantined off from each other. So I did write a parody song. And are we ready to do that? You're gonna have to.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch you in and do the parody song. I didn't see anybody who wanted to hear that again.
Okay,
so
well, we can come back to you if you want to do that.
Right. So, David, you're on.
Yeah. Okay. So there it is. Okay, he's got the lyrics up on the screen there, and this is a familiar tune. You'll pick up on it immediately as soon as I start. A few of you may have heard this before, because I think I did it last month, but. It's a simple song in the key of C, and it has two chords only, the C and the G7, and you'll figure out the pattern real quick on that. Don't necessarily expect you'll sing along with all the lyrics, but you can certainly come in on the chorus, which will be pretty much the same every time except maybe the very last one. So it goes like this. Simple up and down strum. In a man my basement teleworking for a time. How I spent my 2020 with my wife in quarantine. COVID darling, COVID darling, COVID darling, quarantine. You are locked up in our bedroom while I'm drying on the vine. And that's how it goes. Nightingale was a night nurse just like my wife of long. Longfellow wrote about her. All my gal gets is this song. COVID darling, COVID darling, COVID darling, quarantine. You are locked up in our bedroom while I'm drying on the vine. Drove her minivan to the clinic every morning, crack of dawn. Caught a virus from a patient, so they told her you are gone. COVID darling, COVID darling, COVID darling, quarantine. You are locked up in our bedroom while I'm drying on the vine. Ruby lips behind a face mask that was hiding her beauty. She's so close and yet so distant, all because of a cootie. COVID darling, COVID darling, COVID darling, quarantine. You are locked up in our bedroom while I'm drying on the vine. Isolation, isolation, oh, it seems like such a crime. But my daughter and her sister gave this Mr. family time. COVID darling, COVID darling, COVID darling, quarantine. You are locked up in our bedroom while I'm drying on the vine. You are locked up in our bedroom, so I nurse a glass of wine. And I know what you're thinking. So we're all fine here. Everybody's recovered and no real problems. Thanks for asking. Moses? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm muted. There we go. I got to remember I'm running two different pieces of software, and now I'm back on again. Sorry about that. But what I was saying before is that having the both of us do the banters back and forth on stage, is we get to do some of that like right now, so that David over there can sit there and interact with me. Now I'm on your other side. I'm on your left there, David.
Oh,
yeah, there
hi.
we go. Yeah. So we gotta coordinate some of these moves, but hopefully you're now able to hear me because I could see the feed going through. So yeah, I think we're pretty good. And we're now on track. And you wanted to hear. I saw Denise wanted for me to play "Beautiful Kauai" again. So we're gonna do that right now, and I'm bringing that in so that you can start seeing the song. And here we go. So again, two vamps. First vamp is for the lead to set the pace, and then everybody jumps in on a second time, and then we start right into this song. Hang on a second. My song on the screen isn't all the way big. There we go. All right.
kawaii. Beautiful kawaii. Where my true love is waiting for me. Beautiful kawaii. Beautiful kawaii. Beautiful kawaii. Beautiful kawaii.
Nice. That sounded good.
Yeah, so hopefully that was good. So, and I just realized just playing through it and didn't think about talking about one of the chords that were on there. If it's on the sheet, what you saw in there was a G7, G7, SUS2, sus2, and then back to a C. All that chord is if you're holding the C chord and you're playing it with your pinky, is the easiest. You could be playing with the ring finger. It just makes it a little bit more challenging. Is that leaving that finger right where it's at, you're dropping the two extra fingers you have, the index and the middle finger, into the other two strings, the second and the third string, and playing a G7 shape. And of course, the only thing that looks funny or feels funny is that C note that you're playing with the out there, and that's a G7 sus4. The sus2 is when you're playing you pull the pinky all the way up, and then you play the G7 by putting it right where it normally would be. And if you play the pinky on the third fret, which is the C note, and what it makes it sounds real cool is if you're playing that part. One of the Hawaiian songs I remember does something like that, and it's kind of a cool spot to drop that chord. Usually a G7 suspended, G7 suspended, and then back to C. G7 suspended 2 is with the open A string or the first string, and then back to the C. Or the way I've been doing it, just on that one spot. Was there another funny chord that I did in there? Oh, in the ending, I tagged with the C major 7. So I did the run. You saw me do this with the G shape on the 5th fret to the 6th fret, and then to the 7th fret. That 7th fret, G shape on the 7th fret is a C chord. And then what I did was I blocked with my index finger the 4th string on the 5th fret, and then barred the other 3 strings on the 7th fret for a C major 7. Of course, you could play this C major 7 on here, just the index finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. That's a C major 7. This was on the 2nd inversion. Okay, well, anyways, that was a quick down and dirty tutorial on that song. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do one of David's songs now, which is Samoa. Here you go, David.
All right. Oh, I'm unmuted already. Let me just find a song here. Okay. All right. Am I coming through? You hearing me? No, is my audio good? Okay.
Yep, your audio is working.
Okay, very good. So this is actually an old song that was, I think, in a movie, like in the 40s or something. And I arranged it into the key of F. And the thing that is kind of fun about this is, if you know, in Hawaiian songs, they have the Hawaiian turnaround. So an example of that is in the intro of this song, where it goes from G7, C7, F. And sometimes you hear the musicians do, if I do it in C, you might hear, there we go. That's a little turnaround. That's the same turnaround, but in C. So that it's like makes a little melody, and that little melody is actually the melody of this song. in part. So that makes it kind of fun. And otherwise, it's just a sort of a mishmash of Hapa Howley, cultural appropriation, but it's fun. So we go from top to bottom. It's got 3 chords. I think maybe there's a G. Nope, G. So we're in the key of F. So we have F, and we have C7. Lots of that. There is an F7 briefly, and then a B flat, and then there's a G7. So in the middle part there, we kind of modulate to another key and back. So we go top to down to where it says repeat. Then we go back to the top, and then we progress down to the bottom and out. So you will hear what it sounds like. I'll try not to play it too fast. And it's got it's in a 2/4 time. And I sort of have a habit of playing it with a sort of an amorphous little bit of a strum, but you can just kind of go down, up, down, right? Straight 8s. I'll slow down. G7, C7, F. That's the intro. G7, C7, F. All right. Oh, I'd like to see Samoa of Samoa with the humu, the nuku, and maybe the apawa'a too. Oh, I'd like to write a song about Samoa with aloha to rhyme it and picture the climate drifting by. In all my dreams I see a vision of the moonlit tropical shore with a maiden Polynesian who can wick that whack by your little grass shack with her hair so black hanging down her back. Oh, I'd like to see Samoa of Samoa, and I'd go there tomorrow if only I knew just where it was. A little faster. Oh, I'd like to see Samoa of Samoa with the humu, the nuku, and maybe the apawa'a too. Oh, I'd like to write a song about Samoa with aloha to rhyme it and picture the climate drifting by. In all my dreams I see a vision of a moonlit tropical shore with a maiden Polynesian who can wick that whack by a little grass shack with her hair so black hanging down her back. Oh, I'd like to see Samoa of Samoa, and I'd go there tomorrow if only I knew just where it was. Oh, I would go there tomorrow if only I knew just where it was. There you go. So I had to play a little faster to get myself in tune. And so the second time through, I cheated on the chords. I played this a C 7 by barring across 3 and then putting my ring finger on the 3rd string 4th fret. So that's another version of C7. And then that allows me to just drop my ring finger across the 5th fret, and that's an F6. So I was doing F6 instead of F. So if you want to try that, you can go back and forth. And then I was also doing a little slide from 1 fret down. And I was mixing up a straight 8 with a calypso strum. I don't know. I got to work that one out better. But that's kind of what I was doing there. So hope that was kind of fun. Moses, back to you.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's always one of those fun things where we get to try out different things, especially in the jams, and we get to share that with the rest of the club. And we're hoping there's some other folks from even outside the club, since we're kind of broadcasting this more widely. Of course, I can't see anywhere else where we are. I may have to do that next time you're doing a song. And what we're going to do is we're going to sing the first verse twice. We're singing the 2 intervening verse, the Kala and the Ahole, once each. We're not going to do the Pa'ani in the middle. And then we're going to do the hyena twice. And then we'll just tag the last line. Now, usually the song, so the melody goes. So that's the melody line. Now there's an A minor in there sometimes. I've seen it play with an A7 going to the D7. That A minor is a lead into E, as well as the other parts. And sometimes I remember to play it, sometimes I don't, but you could always be sure that the D7's in the right spot as well as the G7. And then we do the turnarounds after each verse. And then of course I got the instrumental that's in the beginning, and then we'll just kind of play the outro by ear. If you can, usually when we sing some of these songs, the second time we sing, so that's on the first verse and the last verse, when we're singing those twice, people would do, is there an echo? Okay, I don't hear any echo from my standpoint. I guess David's going to go check on that while I'm going to go ahead. There is an echo. Is that echo too bad, or is that? Hang on, I think I know where that's coming from.
Now, how's that? That echo should be gone now, because there should only be one stream that's coming from mine. I left open another microphone, and I think that's where the echo was coming from. So, is that echo gone now? Oh, hey, Amy. I'm hoping that echo is gone. Okay, yeah. It was two. I had two microphones on this end going. I just killed one of the mics, and so now here we go. The vamp. Aloha vau ia oe kuipo ku'ule mo. Hey, sorry about that. Aloha vau. See, oh. I think I played the wrong intro. Hang on. Sorry about that. Completely wrong song. That was an intro for a whole other song. So this one's going to be a straight vamp. The D7, G7, and a C. Back to the G7. Aloha. Okay, now I lost the whole melody line. Aloha. Oh, here we go. Aloha kamanini meka po'o Heia no ia ika lau papa. Vamp. Aloha kamanini meka po'o Heia no ia ika lau papa. Second verse. Kala kanenue o kanavele Moani ke ala e honi aku Ahole ia bikoli haliha O Don't modulate it. We'll stay in the same key. Aina ia mai ana ka puana. Aloha ka manini me ka popolo. Vamp.
Oh, so sorry about that. Yeah, that was an intro for a whole other song that Israel does, and that got stuck in my mind that it does go. And so on, and it's a whole different song. I don't remember the title off the top of my head, and I've been actually relearning how to play that song with the instrumentals, and and somehow that got stuck in my head with Aloha Kamanini. And by the way, this song Aloha Kamanini, it was written by a guy named Lot Kawe. And if you, it's very interesting. If you don't know about this song, and of course the English words are all down there. It's about a bunch of fishes. So you got the kamanini, it's a manini and a popolo. Those are fishes, and then there's the kala and the ninue, and of course on and on ohole. But what's interesting about this song by the guy who wrote it, and as you know, or at least the story that I heard, and which I think is the most interesting and fun story about the song, is that Lot was a philanderer. So these fishes have nothing to do with fish. Although it's a great song about fish because Hawaiians love to eat. But it's about the different women in the world, that there are different types and every one of them have their own flavors. And that's what he was writing about. So it was a fun, when I heard that I busted out laughing, and I couldn't believe that, that I said, no, you got to be joking. And they said, no, that's kind of what they thought the song was about. And then I did some research and found that, yeah, Lot was a philanderer. Unfortunately, he was a musician that died broke and alone. And but it was one of those things where it was a fascinating story, and I like it, so I'm going to stick to that. The next song we're going to do is with David again, and he is going to be doing and of course, if you want to hear more about some of these songs, let me know, and then I'll try to remember to turn the other microphone off because I turn it on when David's online. So I'm going to let him introduce his next song, which is I forget which one that is. That's the Lisa song is the one that's next. So here we go, and it's being brought in, and there you go, David, you're on.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, this song is called "Come Back, Liza," and I'm going to do another song that's maybe a little more familiar in a bit, which is "Jamaica Farewell." And this is another song of that ilk. It's an old calypso song that my dad used to play on the Calypso album by Harry Belafonte that was, I think, the first gold record or something like that back in the late 50s, somewhere thereabouts. And so there are a lot of good songs on there, and he was just one of my dad's favorites. And so, of course, I grew up with that. And this is an easy song because it only has two chords. This one, though, instead of being the C and G7, it's the C and the G. So it's a good way to, I have people practice going from C to G, because you do that sometimes in the key of C, and you also do it in the key of G, where you need to go back and forth from the G to the C. And so what I do is I use my ring finger for the C, and then I just drop the other two fingers down. I move it up a string and drop the other two down, and that's how and it's minimal motion. You see I'm hardly moving. You keep the other fingers ready, and you're good to go. And then when to move is easy, because if you look at this score, you'll see that the G always comes on the word water for some reason. and then the word C comes on the word I, and so it works out. It's a little repetitious, but it's a pretty song. Every time I'm away from Liza, water come to me, I calypso strum. Every time I'm away from Liza, water come to me, I chorus. Come back, Liza, come back, girl, wipe the tear from me eye. Come back, Liza, come back, girl, wipe the tear from me eye. I remember when love was new, water come to me eye. There was one, but now there's two, water come to me eye. Come back, Liza, come back, girl, wipe the tear from me eye. Come back, Liza, come back, girl, wipe the tear from me eye. When the evening starts to fall, water come to me eye. I need to hear my Liza's call, water come to me eye. Come back, Liza, come back, girl, wipe the tear from me eye. Come back, Liza, come back, girl, wipe the tear from me eye. Standing there in the marketplace, water come to me eye. Soon I'll feel her warm embrace, water come to me eye. Come back, Liza, come back, girl, wipe the tear from me eye. Come back, Liza, come back, girl, wipe the tear from me eye. In the shadow I stand a while, water come to me eye. Soon I'll see my Liza's smile, water come to me eye. Come back, Liza, come back, girl, wipe the tear from me eye. Come back, Liza, come back, girl, wipe the tear from me eye. Every time I'm away from Liza, water come to me eye. Every time I'm away from Liza, water come to me eye. Come back, Liza, come back, girl, wipe the tear from me eye. Come back, Liza, come back, girl, wipe the tear from me eye. Thank you. I hear all the applause. Moses, what do you think? He's gone.
No, I'm back. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Knock, knock, knock.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom. All right.
So, yeah, I mean, there was only one
Here he
comment, but
comes.
we're going to have to fix that next.
You're muted, Moses?
No, I should be. No, I'm not muted in the
I can't hear you.
stream. I'm not. I'm
There you
muted on the Zoom, but I'm not.
Oh, not
muted
the other
on
one.
the
Okay,
stream.
okay, sorry.
Yeah, the one thing is that the chords. They said the chords were a little fuzzy, but I think that's a function of being too small. So we had to make sure we fix the.
On the image.
Yeah,
okay.
the image files, because
Okay.
everybody gets. This is kind of interesting. Still looking at formatting and technique and how much song do we put on there, and so after coming up, it would be very ingenious to make sure that the fonts are large enough so they can be shown on the screen, and then we play enough of the arrangement to make it fun for you. So we're still kind of messing with that. I know the next song that I'll be doing is going to be Paniolo Country, and and in case you're wondering why I'm playing a lot of these Hawaiian songs, some of you may not know, but this month is Asian American and Pacific Islander Appreciation Month, and that's mostly celebrated a lot that I've seen in the government organizations than they are anywhere else. There's a lot of history that's behind that. That's the entire month. Of course, there's for the this weekend, it's Memorial Day weekend. So those are the ones who gave their full measure, the ones who lost their lives while serving this country, and So the veterans, we come later. But for the ones who served and gave their full measure, that's what this whole weekend's about. And it's kind of that celebration on that we get to enjoy. So it's one of those things I heard in a movie, the one with the president with the Michael Douglas. I can't remember. But where he talks about what it is to be an American in this country is that everybody has their rights, that they could be standing right next to you, yelling at the top of their lungs for the things that they believe in, and that could be everything that rubs against you, but it is their right to do that just as much as that is your right to express your opinions as well. And that's what those people who gave the full measure, gave their lives to protect those rights, and it's around the world as whatever the government sees fit, that where we need to represent ourselves as Americans across this country. That's what this whole weekend is about. But anyways, the next song I'm going to do, I'm not sure. So, David, did you do anything in your workplace for Asia Pacific Month this month?
I work at a big company, so they always do something. They're very forward with their diversity, but nothing I'm aware of since we're all cooped up.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know that the place that I work for, and I know I've been trying to figure out how to respond to a couple of folks on Facebook, where they've said, I'm one of the essential people. I get to work, and yeah, I am lucky and fortunate that yes, I get to work. I do get to do teleworking. But one of those things that I have to really admire the director that I support in the organization I work for. We are only 15% manned in our building. It means 85% of us are all 100% teleworking. We're trying to find things on that I work so that does not required to be in the building to do, and we're sort of planned out. And I think at one time I talked about how I saw this coming a while back, and so I planned time on activities that I could do by bringing things forward in a calendar that I could do off-site, and that's what my whole team's been doing. We've been doing some work that it is beneficial. We weren't scheduled to do it until later on in the year, but we're doing it now because we can. But getting back to the diversity part, one of the things that the director of the organization I worked for did was that he did not allow COVID to stop our activities. He had a Asia Pacific celebration. He brought a guest speaker. Everything was done virtually online, doing web access, sending out presentations, and the person that spoke to us was the Director of National Intelligence, CIO, and he is a history buff, and he brought up all of the Asia Pacific notables from history that gave their lives in the support of what the ideals are in this country. That was fantastic because it was a whole 40 minutes worth of presentation on reviewing, going over folks like Senator Inouye, who lost his arm. Of course, he's been a senator for a long time of Hawaii until he passed away some years ago. He retired and then passed away. And there's other ones and he was part of the Full 4-2, one of the most decorated units in the United States Army history. And there's still not another unit who exceeds the number of awards they got as a unit. And they have a lot of individual citations for those who are there. And then they're slowly passing away because they are World War II vets. And that's one of those things that during Veterans Day, that when we get to that point in November, that you go out and say hello to some of these veterans if you ever see them anywhere, and thank them for their service. Anyways, so that's what this month was about. We've got some tunes at the end to celebrate Memorial Day as well, but I'm doing all the Hawaiian songs because it is Asia Pacific Month, and David's got some of his songs, but we do have some other songs. So without further ado, we're going to do
Paniolo Country, and you should see that popping up on your screen there. It is an F. I need to switch instruments, so hopefully there's not a big popping sound when I pull out the cable. And I'm switching to a more contemporary sounding instrument. Of course, it's my low G. And if I remember right how we played this, The first part is done as a tremolo. This is a 2-pager, but we're going to do it as a 1-page. So we're going to play all the way through from places where I've been, going to the, and hopefully I can remember how to do the a cappella part. Then we go to I Made Up My Mind. And then and we skip the solo. We're not doing the solo. That's something that we do more of like of a performance at like Viva Vienna. So we made up my mind. Then we go back to the chorus and we sing the chorus 2 times as an outro. So it's the first verse, Places I've Been, and it's done as a tremolo. Places I have been, and you could sort of follow along, and it's a very typical country. Sort of like a loping strum, and then we go first verse, chorus, second verse, chorus 2 times. Let me see. Actually, no. Let's do it this way: first verse, chorus, second verse, chorus. Go back to the first verse, and then do chorus 2 times. Let's do it that way. So here we go. Places I have been, cities I have seen, with concrete canyons rising from the ground. Sorry about that bad chord in there. Miles and miles of asphalt trails stretched across the land, stampeding metal ponies. Another B flat there. Leaving smoke along the way. I'm going back to Paniolo country. The stars at night, no city lights. Paniolo country, my home on the range. I made up my mind, won't waste any time. I'm going back to where the clouds rise high. And take my word, it's pretty, and not like the great big city. The winds still bring cool, clear mountain air. Going back to Paniolo country, the stars at night, no city lights. Paniolo country, my home on the range. Places I have been, the cities I have seen, with concrete canyons rising from the ground. That was a B flat there. Miles and miles of asphalt trails stretched across the land, stampeding metal ponies, leaving smoke along the way. Going back to Paniolo country, the stars at night, no city lights. Paniolo country, my home on the range. Paniolo country, stars at night, no city lights. Paniolo country, my home on the range. My home on the range. Well, that's a shortened version of Paniolo Country.
Sorry about those 2 chords in that first verse. They should have been on the second line with concrete should have been a B flat, and stampeding should have also been a B flat. It's correct on the second verse where those B flats come in. Let me see. What was that quick chord change from C7 at the end of the verse? Let me see. At the end of the verse. Metal ponies leaving smoke along the way. It's just a C7, Denise. Going back to pony. Yeah, it's just a regular C7 chord. Oh, Amy, yeah, I kind of figured there'd be a lot of events at the Pentagon with as many people that would work there. But with all of the only the mission critical people working there, I'm surprised there was still a lot of events. I'm wondering if they might have been a lot of online activities as they do in the organization I support. Well, anyways, David, we're both back up on the screen. That was one of those fun songs. I first heard that by Randy Travis, and I go, wow, that's a interesting song that someone who typically sings cowboy songs or country songs, and he does something that's almost Hoppa Holly singing, and that was what kind of blew me away when he did that.
But we used to do that song with the ensemble years ago, and
Yes.
it'd be fun to do it again. Bring it back.
Yeah, matter of fact, we did that because we honored the Paniolos at
Right.
one of the
That was the
Reston
theme.
Multicultural Festivals a couple years back, and we were all in our aloha wear and cowboy hats, which was kind of really cool. Well, anyways, David's up next with his next song, and I'll let him introduce. It's a Hoppa Holly song, so I promise you we'll be getting to a couple of pop songs here in a minute. And without further ado, here comes David with Syncopated Hula.
All right, let me scroll myself to it. Keep going, keep going. There we go. Okay. Syncopated Hula Love Song is another Hoppa Holly song. And it's by Harry Owens, who is the guy that wrote Sweet Leilani and a bunch of other Hoppa Holly songs. Several of them have become standards. This one did not, but it's kind of cute anyway. Another one in F, and at least that's the way I transposed it or arranged it. And so we have F, C7, and there's a B flat in there. So those are the main chords in F, and then C7 and G7. The only thing that's tricky is if you look down in the bridge there, it goes into the key of A, or it plays an A chord, and then the F sharp minor is, if you look at the picture there, it's like the A, but with a finger on the second string, second fret. So it's like a G7 shape, but moved up a string. That's that chord. And the melody goes a half step off at that point and then comes back at the end of that. The G minor 7 is like if you play a B flat but lift up your ring finger off the top string. That's G minor 7. It's a real pretty chord, and it's not hard to play. So there is some syncopation in here. Not a whole lot. It's just kind of a light thing. But again, it's got that vamp, G7, C7, F, right? You can do that a couple of times. And then it's going to be a little quicker. It goes like this. A syncopated hula love song, a hula maiden sang to me, and I lost my heart on the beach at Waikiki. That's how that goes. A blue Hawaiian moon was shining, the stars were blinking high above, and I got my start in the art of making love. That's where the syncopation was. Hey, the coral sea has come between us, and fond reminiscing brings a tear. Still I love my dark and hula Venus, and once again I long to hear a syncopated hula love song. Back at the top. A hula maiden sang to me, and I lost my heart on the beach at Waikiki. A blue Hawaiian moon was shining, tongue twisters. The stars were blinking high above, and I I start in the art of making love. Though a coral sea has come between us, and fond reminiscing brings a tear, still I love my dark-eyed hula Venus. That's hard to say. And once again I long to hear a syncopated hula love song. We're at the bottom now. A hula maiden sang to me when I lost my heart on the beach at Waikiki. There we go. So we know what the songwriters were all thinking about back in those days, just the silly love songs, and add some tropical imagery, and there you go. I hear Moses clicking.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was there was I find because I don't watch my cell phone while we're doing some of this stuff, and while you were playing, I noticed I had a message there from one of our members that had a problem getting into the website, and I was just getting ready to post it when you finished. Hang on, I'm gonna pop this note into the.
I could do another one if you want me to.
Well, it was interesting that she said she couldn't get into the site. She said it was restricted, but we've got a number of people who are in there. Let me see. Do I have any other notes in there? Well, anyways, while we're waiting, I think I'm visible. Yep, I'm visible. So while I'm talking, I'm going to click around. So John asked a question about who were the Paniolos. And it had to do with the original song. I don't think I see any other messages in there from other folks. Paniolo Cowboys, cute song. Oh, Amy said cute song, David. So John, the Paniolos came from when King Kamehameha III in the 1830s. His grandfather King Kamehameha I got some cattle from a Scottish lord. And he put a kapu on them, and so nobody was allowed to touch them, and that's just kind of they were sort of his prize and pets, I guess. By 1830s, the cattle got out of hand, so his grandson, or King Kamehameha III, went out and looked around to see who can show the Hawaiians how to take care of the cattle. At that time, if you notice, Wild West wasn't even the Wild West yet in the U.S. In the 1830s. They were too busy trying to figure out what they were going to do as a nation, and then they, of course, got into the Civil War. So the only ones who were running large ranches were the Spanish along what is now today California, New Mexico, and Arizona. And so King Kamehameha III invited these Spanish ranchers to come to Hawaii to show them how to cattle ranch. Long story short, if you ever get onto the Big Island, go out to Kamuela, go look up the Parker Ranch. It's still touted as one of the largest ranches in the United States. Of course, that's across different islands. I think, if I have my numbers right, it's still around 500,000 acres. But it's no longer owned by the Parker family. The last Parker had no descendants, so they willed the estate back to the town of Kamuela. So now there's a board in the town of Kamuela that manages the Parker estate and the Parker ranches.
And they have tours there, probably?
Oh, they do. I've been on a tour some years ago when we were there for the 50th anniversary of the Merry Monarch. It's a hula festival named after King Kalakaua. The Merry being Merrie, because he was a very happy king. Merry being a little happier than most people. There's some funny songs about him as well. But getting back to the Paniolos, so the Hawaiians learn to speak, because when you hear these cowboys, they're kind of yelling at the cattle. They have all these slang words. Well, the Spanish are no different, and some of those words were borrowed Spanish words put into Hawaiian and mixed with Spanish words. And if you look at the old Paniolos who still ride, they're still riding the Spanish big horn saddles, not the Western saddles, because all of their history came from the Españolas, the Spanish riders. And that's where to answer your question, John, that was where the word Paniolo comes from. And a couple years back, there was a 150th anniversary, I think, and I can't remember the exact number of years. I think that was right, on celebrating the introduction of Españolas, the Paniolos, coming to the Hawaiian Islands, and where some of the songs, Hawaiian slack key guitar, the guitarists, the Spanish came over, and after they got done with their charter and teaching the Hawaiians how to cattle ranch, they left all their instruments. Unfortunately, they didn't leave any instructions, so that's where Hawaiian slack key guitar was born out of. They got all these wonderful instruments, and they didn't show them how to tune them, so they ended up with all these interesting tunings. And of course, but we're here for the ukulele, which was brought in much later in the 1890s on the USS Ravencraig, bringing a bunch of Portuguese initially from Madeira, and they brought their instruments with them, the roja and the baraquina, and that became today's ukulele. Well, anyways, the next song I was going to do, and I'm on the wrong sheet here, but David, yeah, Amy said that's a cute song, and we got to remember to take some of these songs and add them to the songbook when we get done. So we need to make sure we pull those in. So we got to get them in all in the right format, and then just got to get some time and redo the book, because it's been, I think, 8 or 9 years since the last time I worked on that book. Anyways,
next song we're going to do is called Delta Dawn, and I got that up on the screen right now. And I kind of went over this song a little bit. I think for the sake of time, because we're already at 3:20 and we only have enough time for a few more songs, and I don't want to shortchange some of the other ones. But this Delta Dawn song is more born out of a primer I taught today on closed chords. This chord's we played in B flat. The 4 chord is a straight bar chord on the 3rd fret, but I'm playing that from the B flat and using the ring finger as my bar chord, and then to a closed F7 shape. And if you listen to a lot of the versions of Delta Dawn, they go sing the verse Delta Dawn, and then they go sing the 2 verses. She's 41 and her daddy still calls her baby. And then they go sing the 2nd verse. Then they sing like the chorus like 10 times. I'm kidding. But they do sing it a bunch of times. But what they do in that, they have the audience participation and they modulate. So one of the things I'm going to do with you today is that you're going to take this shapes. The 1 chord is the B flat shape. The 4 chord is a bar chord with your ring finger on the 3rd fret, because if you think about it, when you're holding the B flat, your ring finger is on the 3rd fret already. You just drop it into a bar. And then of course, the 7th chord is the F7 shape, closed chord. So you take the F chord, and then you take the 2 extra open strings, and you put your ring and pinky there. And then what you're going to do is that when we modulate up, because we're only going to do the chorus, you're going to move everything up 2 frets. And since you're doing closed, you're going to do it in the 3rd fret, the bar in the 5th fret, and then the F7 starting in the 3rd fret. And that's nothing more than the C chord, the F6 chord, and then the G7 chord. And then we're going to modulate one more time, going 2 more frets up, which is in the D, key of D. And then we're playing the G6, back to the D for the 1 chord, and then the 5 chord, which is the 7 chord, is the A7. And if you look it up as the typical 3 chord songs, the 1 chord is always the B flat is the D, E flat, and F7. C chord is C, F, and G7, so that's why it's an F6. And the D chord is the key of D is D. It's usually a G chord. We're playing the G6 with the bar on the 7th fret, and then the A7 we're playing the F7 shape on the 5th fret, which is the A7. And that's how we're going to modulate. So here we go. It's just, it's a straight 8s. And if you can, you're going to chunk on a 2/4. So 1. Here we go. today, to take you to his mansion in the sky. One more time to the 7th fret. Delta Dawn, what's that flower you have on? Could it be a faded rose from days gone by? And did I hear you say he was to meet you here today, to take you to his mansion in the sky? Take the last line. Take you to his mansion in the sky. Okay. I wanted to try that for a while.
I actually listened to that song from Rena Del Cid earlier this week, and I don't know if some of you know, Rena Del Cid is from Wisconsin, and she had her musician partner is Lundgren, Tony Lundgren, fabulous guitar player, plays great leads on the guitar. And I've been following them for a couple of years now. And then Rena Del Cid and Tony were playing a version of Delta Dawn that it just caught my ear. And I tried to figure out what key it was in. I found out they were playing it in B flat. And then the bells started ringing in my head. I said, oh, this is the same chord structure as King of the Road. And the way Roger Miller originally recorded his song was also in B flat. So arrangements started popping around, bouncing around in my head, and I said, well, if I could show the club how to play this song, and we'd get an audience participation, you know, if we learn the chorus and everybody learns it very well, they learn these chords. By the way, if you didn't catch it on the second line, the 4 chord and 1 chord over the faded rose is incorrect. You play the 1 chord all the way through to the 5 chord over the word by. That 4 and 1 you could cross out. As a matter of fact, we'll have it fixed and we'll post this up on our website. But then, and then we'll have some recordings. If you notice on our website, we also have the song forum, has a list of all of the links on our YouTube channel for the Society of examples to play many of the key songs out of our Tall Oaks book as well as our main book. When we get this and we work out the arrangement, I think I really want to do this one and King of the Road between these two songs. I think that would be a good mashup. Medley of these two songs, Delta Dawn and King of the Road, because of the similar chord structures. But we don't have to sit there and sing the verses that goes with that too, or we come up with a parody of verses, because that seems to be a little one-sided there with those for the song. But anyways, hopefully you like that. You know, I just see, didn't you see closed chords? I love closed chords because we can change keys, modulate, and do all kinds of neat stuff with that. Let's see. I think David was going to sing. As we're at the bottom of the hour. We got 15 more minutes, and I wanted to leave some time with.
I can just do one more.
Let's see. I was thinking that what you would do, America the Beautiful. Let's do that one.
Okay.
So I brought that in mostly because it is Memorial Day weekend, and I just noticed you're offset there. So let me fix you there, and then bring you back in. So there you. Oh,
we go.
Wait a minute. Got you in the wrong song. Isn't that a song? Wrong song? There we go.
Somebody done somebody wrong song. Something like that.
That's Barry Manilow, right? A Barry Manilow song, or what's the other guy?
I don't know who did it.
Okay, well, anyways, David, you're up on America the Beautiful. Then we're going to wrap up with our two signature songs, Kaulana Kawaihae and Sweet Wahine.
Okay, so I realized after I put this out, this is a version of America the Beautiful that I tend to do, and it's in G. Then I saw in our in the Northern Virginia Ukulele Society a patriotic songbook. The song is in there, but I think it's in F, so a little bit different. But I don't remember why I did this. Might be easier chords or singing or something like that. So G. So we're in the key of G. A couple of interesting chords in there. You all know the song. And to help myself sing, I put that first note as D. So if you're playing the G chord, then the D is going to be the third string up. So that's my note. Nice and slow. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of green, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Everybody following along? Oh, beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Wrong chord. Let's do it again. And crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. There we go. Hard to play that with your hand on your heart, but gives you the feels, huh? And I think there's a ton more verses, but this is good. Fits on a page.
Turn my mic back on. So one of the things I always that you and I had exchanged messages about that, and it just ran out of time, was to play some of the songs that are in our songbook, like over hill, over dale, the dusty trail as the caissons go rolling along. And it's in tribute for all of the services, because and we have it in our patriotic songbook, but ran out of time of preparing for that.
4th of July.
We could do it for the 4th of July, and they'll be either virtual or it would be, matter of fact, we could do it, because we're virtual, we could do it any time. We don't have to wait until the end of the month. So we could do our normal June jams and then do a 4th of July jams. And maybe people will like that if we're still in this phase. If we're stuck in phase 1 for Northern Virginia, we're not allowed to go anywhere. Of course, the other problem is, even if they lift the restrictions, if they have the capped meetings, we're not allowed to go, not allowed to have more than 10 people in any one spot. Then we'll do the same thing we did last I think it was in January, where we didn't have more than 5 people inside of the brewery, and then we did a live stream from the brewery itself. So we could do something like that as well. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. You never know. So what we're going to do, because we're already at close to I'm struggling on whether we do Sweet Wahine or we do Sweet Wahine, because we can't do all of the solos, because we don't
Right.
have that luxury of doing solos like we did before.
Do the other one.
And I'm trying to figure out if we have enough time. Maybe we have enough time for you to do. Do you have another one that you did, Jamaica Farewell?
Right.
You know what?
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah, I tell you what. We're going to go back to back. No talking in between. But if you could do Jamaica Farewell, I'm
Okay.
going to pop that on the screen. You do Jamaica Farewell, and then what we'll do is let me see how. Sometimes this thing gets a little goofed up. There we go. So I'm going to bring you in as the Jamaica Farewell, and you're in. And we're going to play, everybody, we're going to play the two signature songs. Kalana Kavaihai first, and then Sweet Wahine. We'll do short versions of both. And hopefully over time, and like we said, always said in the meetings, the three signature songs, Beautiful Kauai, Kalana Kavaihai, and Sweet Wahine, that you learn those to the point where you don't need the music in front of you to play. Because that's always cool when you can jump up on a stage with the rest of the society members and just start playing those songs. Well, anyways, David, if you'd lead in with Jamaica Farewell,
All right.
and then I will finish, I'll wrap up with the last two songs.
Okay. So Jamaican Farewell is another song I mentioned earlier when we did Come Back Liza. This is, at least I first heard about it on that album. It's an older traditional song from Jamaica. And we're in the key of C here. We're doing a calypso strum, right? Island strum, down, down, up, down, up. And in particular, it really fits this song because the way the lilt of the lyrics really fits that rhythm. You might listen for that. First note is a G. So if I'm playing a C chord, G is that top string. All right. Down the way where the nights are gay and the sun shines daily on the mountain top. I took a trip on a sailing ship, but when I reached Jamaica, I made a stop. But I'm sad to say I'm on my way. Won't be back for many a day. My heart is down, my head is spinning around. I had to leave a little girl in Kingston town. Sounds of laughter everywhere, and the dancing girls swirl to and fro. I must declare my heart is there, though I've been from Maine to Mexico. But I'm sad to say I'm on my way. Won't be back for many a day. My heart is down, my head is spinning around. I had to leave a little girl in Kingston town. Down at the market you can hear ladies cry out while on their heads they bear ackee rice, salt fish are nice, and the rum is good any time of year. But I'm sad to say I'm on my way. Won't be back for many a day. My heart is down, my head is spinning around. I had to leave a little girl in Kingston town. One more time. Sad to say I'm on my way. Won't be back for many a day. My heart is down, my head is spinning around. Had to leave a little girl in Kingston town. I had to leave a little girl in Kingston town. Another sad one. Yeah.
Kalana Kavaihai. And let's see. So I got to bring it up big on my screen. Oops, went the wrong way on the songs. I had a few more pop songs like Have You Seen the Rain and what was the other one? There was a couple other ones I had. We just ran out of time. I guess I got to remember next time I got to speak less and we got to play more. So here we go. Sing the echoes in a harmony. haina. Haina. Mai kapuana. Kulahi. Kukila. So nice. And remember, that's a signature song, so if you ever, you should try to learn it. And if you look at the song, and we've always said that, and there's a tutorial how to pronounce all the words on our website. But if you look at that song, the last line, they're all the same last line. So if you only learn Elelo Mai Kahiko Mai in that song, then you've learned half of the song. And if that's all you learn to play without the music, and you can play all the chords, that's great too, because then it sounds you have this big full voice jumping in at the end of the song. Okay, so let's see. We got this last song with Sweet Wahine, and like I said, normally we have a whole bunch of people doing solos, and I think what I'm going to do for one of these times, I'm going to go grab one of our recordings. I think David and I have done one, and I'm going to feed that in as the closing song with Sweet Wahine, so you can hear all the different parts and the different solos and things like that. But for today, we're just going to play this song kind of twice through, and let me see. Actually, 1.5 times through. So we start at the top, Espanita, go to It Was the Shores, and then we go to Espanita, and then we go out. So I'll do my intro, my instrumental intro coming in. We'll do it 1.5 times, and then I'll do my instrumental going back out, which is essentially the same thing, and then we'll end it there. So, and I'd like to say, and then David and I will come back in on last time with the double view. So here we go. Espanita, la muchacha, Sweet Wahine, come dance for me. Espanita, la muchacha, Sweet Wahine, sorry, pretty lady, dance with me. Where we saw her dance out in Waikiki, playing little guitars under the stars, blowing tunes that almost like you.
was playing along in the back here.
Yeah, I like that song. That's and I have to say, because I always have to remember that when we play the Sweet Wahine song, we were given permission to play, arrange, record that song by Don Kalia and LT Smooth from the Big Island. They wrote that song. They got on their CD by the same title, Sweet Wahine, in 2009. They got a Nahoku award for that in Hawaii. That the Nahoku Hanohano Award is like the Hawaiian Grammys from the Hawaiian Academy of Recording Artists. And I heard them play that. Well, I actually heard Don Kalia play that here in D.C. in 2009 when President Obama was inaugurated, and they had a lot of the different groups had these balls, inauguration balls, and the Hawaii State Society was one of them. And Don Kalia came out and he played that song, and I go, man, that's a really cool song. And he goes, well, it's a very simple A minor, D minor, E7 song. And I go, wow, and basically what he told me was it was a 1-4-5 song in the key of A minor. And with music, and as you learn about music, that's the same as playing all the notes of the key of C. And we talked about that in the primer. And one of the reasons that we do teach the keys of C, F, and G. If you know those, you'll automatically know the minor notes to those keys for the A, E, and F, which are, I'm sorry, A minor, D minor, and E minor, A, D, E, right. Those minor keys, if you know the C, F, and G keys. And this is why I teach this also, or encourage, playing. And we talk about that at the club meetings, where you can play the C scale, and you will never hit the wrong note, but you'll find that there are better notes than others, but there's never a wrong note playing the C scale on top of this. And then that's because the biggest hurdle in learning how to solo is starting to play something for a solo. And if it's something and that's your first time, more power to you. Well, anyways, thank you for all of you for coming. I think I saw some of the trends. We had upwards of about 20 plus folks, so 29 folks on at one time. Average listening time was 46 minutes over the hour and plus. That's at 45 minutes over an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. So that's great statistics there. And then the concurrent, so I do appreciate all of you listening in. I really hope at some point in the future that we get to meet again at our sponsor, Ono Brewing Company. Of course, I have to make a shout out for the other ones. Music Spectrum School of the Arts in Herndon. They provide resources and facilities for us for the ensemble to rehearse every week. Of course, right now we're rehearsing virtually, and we have some treats for you coming soon. And then there's the Nova Music Center, and both of those places, they teach ukulele lessons, both the group and private. Well, private at Nova Music Center, and there are group lessons at Music Spectrum for young children and adults. There's so when we get back into meeting in person, we'll restart the group classes. Right now, those two slots are being taught as private lessons. So I think I got them all. Oh, House of Music Traditions. So for a music store, it's Nova Music Center in Manassas, and House of Music Traditions are the music stores. We have schools teaching ukulele is Music Spectrum of School of the Arts in Herndon, and of course Nova Music Center teaching. And then we have Ono Brewery for a good time, drinks and foods, and of course the food is provided by Odd Barbecue. And then we have, last but not least, Shaka Aloha Wear. They provided, of course, we had to pay for them, but we got a really good discount from Shaka Wear for our uniforms for the ensemble. And of course, the club can order anytime that we're doing the block buys through Shaka, and that you can also enjoy the same discounts. So again, thank you for coming. And David, you got anything to say?
No, but thanks again. It's been fun. hopefully a little smoother as we get better as we go along.
Yeah, and we promise we'll get better with the display of the songs. We're figuring out what works best, and we encourage you to send us an email, post a note in the chat, or send if you know the club's email address is info@nova-uke.org. If you send it there, you will see it. If you don't want to post it there, you can go to our website, Northern Virginia Ukulele Society, on Facebook, and you can send a private message, or you can send it to the inbox. We'll look at it there. Any way that you can communicate with us on how to what you think would be better. Go ahead, David.
On the topic of diversity, please contribute songs to lead during the jams, because then you won't just see these two mugs the whole time.
Yes,
Put some songs in.
That's right. It's not just David and me. And we've had in the past. We got to meet Manuel after a while at the primer today, and we're encouraging, because he used to bring songs for the jams. And what we would like to do is that we kind of told him the mechanics. You got to get the songs to us earlier so we can give you comments back on whether it's prints too small or things. Got to remember, it's got to be viewable on a TV screen kind of thing. And we hope that you guys come back next month, but please make comments and we'll get better at this. And I don't know if we get back in doing regular business. Business as usual is not business as usual. Maybe we'll do live jams going into the future. It just takes a little bit. We need some people trained on how to do this, and we'll bring some of the equipment in to the owner brewing company, and when we have it in their brew house, so that we could do what we're doing right now to the community. Anyways, thank you again, and I salute the veterans of today and the veterans of yesteryear. See you next time.
Thanks. Bye.